So this is the follow-up video that I told you I was going to make as it pertained to what Scott Adams said in the tweet that I referred to in the previous video. And this is coming from a person named Elijah Schaffer. And just based off of this, I already know what I can pretty much gauge what type of person he is. But like I told you, this is where I talk about where the white fragility is real. So he posted up this tweet with this video where Issa Rae had made a very now famous statement where she was saying, "I'm rooting for everybody black." And he says, this is overt racism, but it's okay because they aren't white. Let me just go ahead and play the video for y'all in case y'all need a refresher on what Issa Rae said, and then realize how, again, the white supremacist does not know how to make a good comparison, because what she said here is completely different from what Scott Adams said. I mean, they are worlds apart.
And last but not least, who are you rooting for tonight?
I'm rooting for everybody black. I am. Betting on black tonight.
5 years ago here at the Emmys, you told us that you were rooting for everybody black. Tonight, Issa Rae, who are you rooting for?
Everybody black. Nothing has changed. It will never change.
Okay, so there you have it. So we all remember when she said this, and, you know, it pretty much went viral and everything like that. So this is an old video. This is not new or recent. As you can see, Insecure was still a thing. Insecure has been off the air for like a year now. So this was, as a matter of fact, I want to say that this was pre-pandemic. So this was between 2019 and any time before that. I'm not exactly sure what year exactly this occurred. I think this might have been at the Emmys. I think this was at the Emmys when this was occurring. But either way, he brought this video back up to try to equate this to what Scott Adams said. Now, me and Rob broke down in that video what Scott Adams said. He says that white people need to get the F away from black people because black people are this, black people are that, black people are this, they're not good, they're ungrateful, they're this and that. Issa Rae was just saying, I'm rooting for everybody black because that's basically her, you know, because if you think about historically when it comes to these awards, we all know that they're lily white, which they are. So when she was saying I was rooting for everybody black, is almost like a cheerleader cheering for the people on their team. That didn't mean, she didn't say I'm rooting for everybody black, and if nobody blacks wins tonight, then, you know, F these awards, F white people and all this type of stuff. She didn't say that. So for him to try to equate what she said to what Scott Adams said is so disingenuous. That is exactly why I tell black people, the white supremacists, dub S, PC, they make some of the worst comparisons known to man. And to make matters even worse, well, first off, I didn't even peep this. Look at what it says right here. From End Wokeness. That is an account on here where I guess they posted this video because it says from End Wokeness. So they're basically crediting where they got it from this End Wokeness page that has 745,000 plus followers. So that tells you all you need to know right there. But I thought it would be interesting enough for us to go through the quoted tweets so you can get an idea of what the people had to say as it pertains to this. And I think by now y'all pretty much have an idea, but we'll go and entertain it just a little bit. So we have this one that says LGB patriots. They said woke racism. There's that word woke again. Someone else said I'm okay with this. Someone else said useful idiots. This person said racist. This one said of course. Someone says make it make sense. This one says, as Scott Adams correctly stated, this cannot be fixed. Disregard that. That is just my alarm sensor. This one says, one of the realest forms of racism is tolerating black people carrying on like this. Not only is it embarrassing, the real reason it's tolerated is because nobody feels threatened by it and they're a completely captured demographic. Someone else said, but this is okay. She doesn't get canceled. Why not? Trust me, if they wanted to cancel Issa Rae for what she said at the time, they would have done it, but they didn't because there was no harm or foul in what she said compared to what Scott Adams said. Again, Scott Adams says white people need to get the F away from black people because they're this and because they're that. Nowhere in here was she trying to separate people. She was just saying, this is who I'm rooting for. Again, basically being a cheerleader. If you want to go out and say, I'm going to root for anybody white, then go ahead and do that. See, the thing about it is that they do these things to gaslight not only us, but themselves. And they're fighting an uphill battle. But again, that's what MAGA is all about. That Make America Great Again, that's what they want to go back to so bad. This one says, there is nothing wrong with racism. It isn't a problem. The problem in current America is simply that white people are not allowed to hold the same belief as everyone else. Well, y'all pretty much have white supremacy. Y'all have a whole structure that's on your side. What are you talking about? If you can't benefit from it, then that's just a waste of whiteness. That's your fault, not ours. This person says, and they wonder why we can't stand them and don't like the crap they produce. Stop following these people. Well, hey, Jude, tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. To me, this is funny. This is hilarious. Y'all are getting inside this clip right here that Issa Rae did. And the way that they framed it, thanks to this Elijah Schaffer, is exposing how they think. Black people, we need to use this to our advantage. Thank you, Scott Adams. As much of a POS as you are, we thank you for telling us how you feel, because that's how the majority of them feel and think. And you're seeing it right here in these tweets. So now we don't have to figure out who is who anymore. We always tell people we love it when you're overt, because when you're covert, we got to try to figure you out. But when you're overt, we know what we're dealing with. Let's continue. We're only going to read a couple more, but I'm just giving you an idea that a lot of the tweets pretty much echo the same exact way, all the way down the list. This person says she's a racist. It is a she, isn't it? So now they're trying to accuse Issa Rae of being a trans. Let's keep it moving. This one says, not all actors are like this, I promise. Someone says, look closely. Know the face of hate. This one says, thumbs down, racism is the only narrative they have. Face palm, F off. Okay. This person says they don't even try to hide their racism anymore. We're saying that about you. Notice how they're trying to use our talking points when we say they don't even try to hide it anymore, because that's something that we would say about them. Now they're trying to use it and flip it on us. And so the thing is, that racist narrative does not work on us like it does them, because they have a whole structure in place that benefits them and helps them. They have a whole systemic thing in place that benefits them. This person says black self-racial segregation is one of the many types of segregation which can range from deliberate and systematic persecution through more subtle types of discrimination to self-imposed separation. This one says whatever they say is all right by them. This one says, imagine if a white person said this, they would be labeled racist and canceled within minutes. Well, how about you try it and see if it happens? Y'all don't even try. Why don't you try? But the thing is, it wouldn't just stop with saying, oh, I'm rooting for everybody white. It would be, I'm rooting for everybody white, and then it would escalate into the Scott Adams territory. And that's the part they don't like, that they can't say what he said. And then they'll say, oh, we got canceled, but Issa Rae can say this. Well, why don't you try and actually say it and see what happens? Now, remember, there's risk involved. But, try it and see what happens. That's all I can say. This one says, yeah, this is also racism, when it's actually not. They said, this is where we are at. I am sick of this. Someone says racism abounds in idiot Hollywood. Someone says you honestly can't help but laugh at this point. This one says as soon as Mark Wahlberg step in front of a camera and say everybody white with the same reaction, you have some, this person can't even type. I'm gonna just go past that. This says, yep, you're right. Black people can't be racist. This one says, if this is racism, I'm the most racist person in the world. And they put in this, look, one of their handmaidens. Look at the flag. Look at the name. Someone else said, who's the racist? This is black are bigger racist than whites. Someone said, guess this is okay. Let me see. It says, must be a sad life to live like this poor creature. They refer to her as a creature. So one referred to her as a trans, and another referred to her as a creature. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of Issa Rae, but goddamn. They said any white person will be immediately crucified if they answered anybody white. Again, try to see what happens. You never know. It says it's time white people started saying ish like this. I'll go first. Don't ever vote for another black for anything. Y'all, listen, I could go on and on and on about this, but we'll be here all day. But literally, this is how that entire quote tweet thread looks under this post. But yeah, this is white fragility. This is the epitome of it right here. They are so upset that they cannot live and walk and breathe as their ancestors did. And I'm not talking about during antebellum chattel slavery. I'm talking about the Jim Crow era of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They are mad they cannot do that. That's why they keep saying, well, if a white person said, we would get canceled. Because back then a white person could say that in worse, like what Scott Adams said, times 10, and not get quote unquote canceled. Being canceled back then wasn't even a thing. So they're mad. That's really all it is. They are mad because they cannot express their overt white supremacy the way that they want to without there being repercussions. They can, but they know that they don't because of fear of what will happen to them, like what happened with Scott Adams. Now, Scott Adams had way more to lose. Them, on the other hand, probably do not. They probably work a regular job. They may have a little small business or whatever. Scott Adams, on the other hand, had a whole comic strip that lasted 30 years where he made millions of dollars, and he squandered all of that in a day because he said how he felt. And again, this is a false comparison. This is a bad comparison of what she said versus what he said. She just said, I'm rooting for everybody black. She didn't say F the other nominees who aren't black. Scott Adams says we need to get the F away from black people because they are this and they are this and they are this. Now you ask me, you tell me, which one do you think holds the most weight based on those two things? Because again, there's no comparison. He's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill with this, and it's not working. The only people that agree with this Elijah Schaffer are the ones in his echo chamber, aka the ones that the tweets that I just read. Those are his echo chamber. Only those within that sphere agree with what he said, and I do mean just them. I had to add this one other thing, and I'm glad I remembered to come back and add this in. Where in Issa Rae saying that she's rooting for everybody black did she call other groups hate groups? Because Scott Adams sure did. He made sure to refer to black people as a collective, as a hate group, as if we're just going out there terrorizing everyone. And according to him, we are. If you listen to what he said, he is. To try to rationalize what he says makes everyone who's doing it look and sound silly and goofy as hell. Just stop it. I feel like you should insert that part where that old MJ commercial from back in the day where he says, just stop it. Because that would be perfect for this right here. Again, horrible comparison.